week-long Daily Café is going to feature our AAA Auto Travel Week. RLTV has teamed up with AAA to give you important information to make sure you're ready for your summer road trips. So how well does your car fit you? The folks at AAA, along with AARP and the American Occupational Therapy Association, joined together to help create the country's first program designed to ensure that older Americans are properly adjusted in their vehicles. It's called CarFit. And joining us now with more on this car safety program is Wendy Staub. Okay, this is a really interesting program that is relatively new that you've all come together to put together. How does it work? What is it?
It's a community educational program designed to measure how well a person fits in their vehicles so that they are properly seated and they're using their vehicle safety features properly so that they can operate the vehicle correctly.
And you wouldn't really think of this, to tell you the truth. I mean, I would think everybody fits in their car the way they fit in their car, but it really is important, especially as we get older.
Right. Our vehicles now have different adjustments that they didn't have 50, 60 years ago.
Right.
And so this is a mechanism to teach people how to operate those adjustments, our power adjustable seats and our vehicle safety features that also didn't exist many years ago.
So let's go through a few of them. For instance, things, again, that you take for granted: the safety belt, headrest, steering, the tilt of the steering wheel. I can't tell you how many times I've been frustrated by not being able to move it.
The tilt of the steering wheel is particularly important because it's the home of the airbag, and it will control the trajectory that the airbag deploys. We want the airbag to deploy into our trunk where the mass of our body weight moves forward versus our face. And if it's tilted very far upward, it'll go into our face and cause injuries.
And what do you mean by line of sight?
Line of sight is where we want people to be high enough in their vehicle to see the entire driving environment. Mm-hmm. We don't want their vision to be restricted by the steering wheel or the dashboard. So we like people to be 3 inches, their line of sight 3 inches above the top of the steering wheel.
Well, also people behind you so that they can see that there's somebody in the car driving.
That helps.
Well, I'm not trying to be funny, but I have seen that before and wondered, where is the person? Okay. Also, the distance of the chest to the steering wheel, why is that important?
Again, the steering wheel is the home of the airbag, and that airbag will deploy around 200 miles per hour. And so it needs the distance and space for it to deploy. And if you're too close, all that force, all that energy comes against your body. And so you need that space for the airbag to deploy properly.
Which could be injury causing, couldn't it?
Right, and it's designed to save your life, not injure you.
Exactly. Okay, next. And I told you a very funny story about my mother, which was one time she got into the car and said, which one's the gas and which one's the brake? And I thought, oh, goodness, move over, please. So gas pedal and mirror position are also very important.
Right. The gas pedals, we want you to know where your foot is when you expect it to be where it is. Mm-hmm. So we want to make sure there's no confusion between the accelerator and the brake pedal. There can be a lot of confusion when there's sensory changes or age-related diagnoses that affect how well you can feel where your feet are. And the mirrors, like line of sight, help us to expand our access, our visual access to the driving environment. We want people to know who's behind them and who's on the side of them before they make maneuvers on the roadway.
Speaking of which, you bring up a point about blind spots. Sometimes you don't know there's a blind spot until you're in the position to realize it, and then you're in trouble.
Right. So we teach people the actual proper mirror adjustments so that you can see. You shouldn't be able to see into the back of your own vehicle in your side view mirror.
And with all this wonderful new technology, it can be confusing also to know where the vehicle controls are. How do you know where the lever is to pop the trunk or whatever?
Well, you know, when you buy a car, they tend to tell you, oh, and it comes with a free cargo net. But they don't tell you where your flashers are, where your hazard lights are.
Windshield wipers.
Where your wiper controls are. So what happens is when people come through CarFit, we have them operate each and every one of those controls. And
that's
a lot of times people are just learning for the very first time where their hazards are or where their windshield wipers are because they don't drive in the rain.
Hey, that's happened to me. You know, you rent a car and suddenly you don't know where the controls are. It's terrible. Okay, an important thing to do, I think, also is to familiarize yourself with the outside of the vehicle. Literally walk around. Right.
We do a walk around the entire exterior of the vehicle to look at a person's ability to get in and physically get in and out of the vehicle. Mm-hmm. And we take a stroll around and we look for things like dings and big dents, and we say, hey, did you notice this? That's a sign that there may be something wrong, something going on if you have crashes in your car that you didn't even notice or you don't recall happening.
Well, I remember when my mother had hip surgery, and honestly, she couldn't get in the car the same way. She had to readjust the seat and include a pillow. I mean, those are things that you need to think about now.
All of those things occur at the end of a CarFit, where you go and you meet up with the occupational therapist and talk about what your needs might be, and we make suggestions about the array of equipment that's out there. Different cushions, different devices to help you get in and out of your vehicle, different devices to help you grab your seatbelt or to turn your key in the ignition. And we'll show all these devices at a CarFit event and say, see, these are all the things that are available on the market that can help you.
So really, that is important to check things out with the occupational therapist.
Right. Specific to the gadgets that we can demonstrate to people, and also if there is a concern, if we truly are concerned that this person has needs beyond what can be addressed at an educational event, we will give them a list of resources and places where they can go to get a full evaluation in the area with a skilled occupational therapist.
Now, one concern that, I'm sure people have as they get older is the decision that, happens sometimes to take car keys away from somebody. Is that a result of this program? Does that happen?
That cannot happen at CarFit. We would only recommend someone losing their keys if there was an issue with their driving performance. CarFit does not in any way measure driving performance. It strictly measures the person-environment fit between the driver and their vehicle to make sure their vehicle works best for them.
It's a great program. It is nothing but helpful
to
all of us.
Right.
Thank you so much, Wendy.
You're welcome.